Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take.
Throw. End zone. Caught. Terrence Williams. Touchdown, Cowboys. Tony Romo.
They go for the shotgun. Roger looks left. Fires it out there. Caught by Tony Hill. Touchdown, Cowboys.
15 to the 10, he'll score. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. The Cowboys have taken a 2-score lead.
Play fake to throw it out of the end zone.
Going way down the field for Michael Irvin, bumping and grinding at the 5. Oh, he's got it. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Over the middle, caught by Witten, who loses his helmet but still keeps going. A penalty. All the pressure on the left side. He drops the ball, throws, caught, Witten. Touchdown.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
And short because they're 99 yards.
Prescott able to get out of the end zone and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it. He's gone. When he gets there, it's a touchdown, Cowboys. On top.
You want to know what an all-pro looks like? Watch Michael Irvin here. He'll battle you all the way down the field.
Motion on first down, Aikman. Harper. Was that beautiful? Touchdown, Dallas. Men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10. And this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
But no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Cowboys Nation, welcome back to another episode of Sons of the Star. I am your host, Dallas. Joining me again, as always, is Cowboy Reg. We hope y'all are doing great tonight. Thanks for joining us. We are live on X. Finally, sorry about last night. We had some technical difficulties. We've had some problems these last couple weeks, just like the Dallas Cowboys, getting the show out there. I was out for 3 days with internet, and Reg was out last night. But Cowboy Reg, how are we doing tonight on this wonderful Tuesday evening?
Doing well. It's good to be back up and streaming. Yeah, we had a major outage here on the island I live on, and yesterday was a no-go. So for those of you that stopped in yesterday, we apologize for that stream. You blame the island. It's the island's fault. But we're back, baby. I think everything's good today. Ready to talk some Cowboys football and break it down.
Yeah, Mr. First Down says, oh, yeah. I wish we had that kind of energy tonight. We're going to try to keep the energy up, but we have, unfortunately, a lot of negatives to talk about. We'll try to mix in some positives if we can find any. The Cowboys are 1-2. They have dropped 2 straight home games after going 16 straight wins at home during the regular season, and really 3 straight losses at home if you include last year's playoff loss to the Packers. So, and not even 3 close games, 3 true beatdowns. The Cowboys kind of came back in this game towards the end. We'll talk about that when we break down the game. But, the Cowboys have just fallen to the Ravens 28-25. So pretty rough game again. They got off to a terrible start. But first, let's talk about our segment, overreaction, underreaction. So Cowboy Reg, what is the overreaction that you view from the media, the team, whatever have you? What's an overreaction from this game and an underreaction? What aren't people talking about enough?
Well, I mean, the overreaction is, writing them off at 1-2 when it's a 17-game season now. That's an overreaction. The underreaction would be to just sit here and say everything's fine and it's a long season, everything's fine. Well, it's a long season and they have opportunities to right the ship, but I mean, the building's burning down, man. Unless you call the fire department, it's not looking good. So I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to have faith that they're going to make some adjustments. I think there's a few simple adjustments they can make to get back in the win column, but there's some major adjustments to make if this team's going to be competitive in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm still talking about the playoffs because it's early, and I know the talent level on the team is a playoff team, but there's going to have to be some major adjustments to get there. And that's what concerns me is the hard-headedness that we've seen in 3 weeks. We keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not working, except, in Cleveland. Being 1-2 is not shocking. I'm not going to overreact to being 1-2, but like you said, the way that we're 1-2, the way they came out and played, quarters 1 through 3 at home, 3 consecutive games dating back to the Green Bay playoff game. After
Yeah, it's
16,
a trend.
I mean, there's a trend there, and that's concerning. So I don't think that's an overreaction to be concerned about that. But overall, 1-2 is no. There's no need to panic. I mean, there's other teams like Cincinnati. We're sitting there going, "What's going on there? How are they 0-3?"
Right? That's true.
Could be worse, Cowboys fans. Believe it or not, it could be worse.
What was your underreact? Did you give me an underreaction as well? You're done?
The underreaction is, it's only 1-2. We're only 1-2. Everything's fine.
I got you.
I mean, everything is not fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would go. My overreaction for this week is, I mean, the media the media is going to have their heyday, but I mean, since the playoff game, I guess it was the same thing. But every single media pundit on the mainstream, all I've seen is Cowboy stuff. Every single one, everybody's talking about the Cowboys, right? In a bad way. Jerry Jones gets his way again. But I would say the overreaction is Bill Belichick will be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. I think that's pretty silly to assume that it's going to go downhill that quickly.
I believe that if this team doesn't make the playoffs and do something, that is probably the route that Jerry would take, is to go to Bill, just like he did when he went to Parcells years ago. He might do that again, but like you said, that's an overreaction because we're 1-2, man. We're one game.
Yeah, there's 14 games left in the season. Yeah, there's
Nobody's
14 games left in the season.
Right?
On for
nobody's 3-0 in the NFC East, so you're sitting one game out of first after 3 games. Let's not overreact to that and start replacing coach yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just we could talk about it later. I don't want to get into it, but I don't. That's not our. You can't just install Bill Belichick in here and think the Cowboys are going to win a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't even know if it's a good option. I really, truly, let's not go down that route.
Not yet.
What is he, 75, 72? How old is Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I think he is, I want to say, 74 or something like that. But yeah. I mean,
come on.
I mean, he's a young man compared to Jerry, but he's up there.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my overreaction. My underreaction is so much blame is going on the head coaches, Jerry Jones. At some point, it's time to blame these players. Where is the Cowboys' leadership on this team? I'm looking at Micah Parsons. I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. I'm looking at Dak Prescott. I'm looking at DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm also looking at Zach Martin. Where are these guys at? You got players fighting on the sideline. You got CeeDee and Dak going at it. You got Micah with the worst body language I've ever seen from a football player. And every time he loses a game, he's on podcasts, blah, blah, blah. Again, these guys are not being accountable. They're not taking accountability. They may say in the media after the game that they're accountable for the losses, but they're not proving that on the field. They're not prepared to win games. They haven't prepared mentally to win football games this year. They're soft, and there's no leadership, and they're not holding their teammates accountable. And frankly, to me, the effort is not there. And that's what's hard to watch. I don't believe that this season, the Dallas Cowboys as a team are putting a full effort forward. I really don't. I think we're in a scenario where we have a lot of individuals that are too focused on their self-worth and not focused on team success. That's what I see. I see that out of Micah Parsons. I see that out of CeeDee Lamb, even though he just got paid. But Mike and CeeDee especially, I mean, just terrible, terrible leadership. just really devastating the team right now. If these guys don't step up in 2 days, we're in deep trouble, and they should be frankly ashamed of themselves. I'm not going to hold back. I mean, they're making an ungodly amount of money, and the way CD's out there throwing literal temper tantrums, slamming his hands on the turf, he should be embarrassed. He really should. You just became. Didn't he become? I mean, wasn't he the highest paid player of all time, or one of the highest paid?
I mean, I think it's the second largest.
Yeah, second largest. Sorry, I think like we said, Justin Jefferson, but
yeah,
he should be ashamed of himself. Micah Parsons should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, just you're not doing your job at a high level, and you should hold yourself accountable. So that's my underreaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with any of those points. I will say, and you give me your take on this, but it seems like the true leader on this team, the one that is going up and down the sideline and trying to pump guys up and willed his way back in the fourth quarter, despite playing awful first three quarters, was Dak Prescott. He's a true leader. I mean, he sees body language in CD and he goes and gets in his face. He did that in Green Bay. He did it again. And you know what? He's not, you can't throw the ball to him every play. So, for him to be complaining about not getting enough balls his way, he was getting bumped off the, as soon as he started his route, he was getting bumped a second time, maybe 5-6 yards down the field, legal or not. I don't know, probably not, but whatever. It's part of being a receiver in the NFL. It seemed like he was cutting his routes short. It seemed like that he'd get hit or, held a little bit and then he'd just stop and he wasn't working for the ball. So Dak looked for other people. He started throwing the ball down the field. They had a nice throw to Turpin and a couple nice throws to Tolbert. And, you look at that fourth quarter and they scored 19 points in the fourth quarter, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They went elsewhere with the ball. He went elsewhere. And I think a lot of that was the body language that he saw on the sideline. You see that kind of body language from CD. What do you think he's going to throw the ball to you now? You're not finishing routes and you're throwing a little temper tantrum on the sideline. You don't get rewarded from that. Dak Prescott, highest paid player in the league right now, right? I mean, he doesn't care. What are you gonna cry for the ball? This guy's he's got more money in the bank than anybody on that team. So he could throw the ball wherever he wants. He's got his money. And it's sad that we're talking about that money because you should just be playing, right? But Dak, you played a horrible first 3 quarters. I mean, he's
just as accountable because he's got he's got to set the tone.
He's accountable for his play, but he's the one guy that showed what we want to see in the fourth quarter, going up and down the sideline saying, let's go, we can do this, get your head up, which I think from what I could tell, just kind of doing a little lip reading and seeing what other people see, is that's what he said to CD, is something to the effect of, come on, you're okay, let's go. And that got into, what do you mean? Am I okay? Are you okay? All this defensive BS. So, somebody's got to put the egos aside. But here's the thing. This is a coach's job. And I know these guys are millionaires and I know they make more money than the coach, but there's certain coaches in the league, or used to be in the league, Belichick, you can use him as example. You pull that crap on him, you're gone. You're gone. Doesn't matter how much money you're making. So where's McCarthy? Where's Zimmer when these guys are throwing the temper tantrums? Where are those guys?
Lost. I don't know if Zimmer knows he's on the field. That guy's just lost.
Maybe we
just
get him back.
He stares. He just stares. He just stands there like this. Like,
I think he's looking.
I mean, there's no emotion out of the guy. Where is the toughness that he's supposed to be instilling in this team?
I think he's in shock that they're playing so poorly and that his schemes are not working.
Yeah. Dallas Diehard says, "Where's the passion from the players for football on this team?" Yeah, good point. I think their passion is building their self-worth. That's what it seems like to me. But
getting paid.
And the reason I'm upset is because I care. Obviously we care about this team quite a bit. We have a podcast. I truly I want to like these guys. I was telling my wife, so far this season, this has been the most dislikable team I've ever watched at Dallas Cowboys. I truly don't enjoy watching these guys play football. They've been that bad. And it's I don't want to see it. I would rather watch, look at, I don't know, I can't think of any good examples, but look at Carolina last week. a guy like Andy Dalton going out there when he shouldn't even be in the league anymore, and the Carolina Panthers go and get a huge win against the Raiders, like that's pretty enjoyable to watch. Like, that team's not good, but at least they're trying. It's like these guys are all overpaid. They have everything you could possibly want out of a football franchise, and they just go out there and cry about losing and don't prepare and just get punched in the face and just lay down. It's like, it's so unenjoyable. They have to turn this thing around, because like I can't stand watching them. I'll continue to watch, and we'll continue to do the show, but right now I cannot stand watching the Dallas Cowboys. It is driving me crazy. But that was a good. If it wasn't for that fight at the end, I would really struggle to even tune into the next game. But they did show some fight towards the end. But let's talk about this game here. So again, the Dallas Cowboys, they elected to take the ball first, which I thought was a good move, because obviously in the past 2 games at home, they've played from behind, and they're struggling to run the ball. So I think, and they're struggling to stop the run, obviously. So I thought the thought process there was good. Let's go get the ball first, go down and score. But they had 3 penalties in the first drive, and they ended up punting. They couldn't get anything going. And then the Ravens get the ball. They immediately go 5 plays, 71 yards, and they're down 7-0. So it's like, okay, well, this isn't good. The Cowboys they couldn't stop that offense at all from the get-go. So I thought this was going to be not good from the defensive side of the ball. So really, a lot of this blame on this game is going to go to the defense, but the offense couldn't set the tone. So, just as much blame's on the offense too. So complimentary football was not there from the get-go. The Cowboys, I wouldn't say they have a drive the next possession, but they go 7 plays for 24 yards. Luckily, the Cowboys might have the best kicker in NFL history, and Brandon Aubrey nails a 65-yarder after a sack on Dak Prescott. So that was huge. But at the same time, it's like you had a feeling you can't just kick field goals in this game. But that was amazing. Brandon Aubrey's a guy that is prepared. So after that, the Ravens go 7 plays for 70 yards and a touchdown, a 1-yard from Derrick Henry to go up 14-3. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, this just looks just like the Saints game again, looks just like the Packers game. So not good. But at that point, Cowboy Reg, you think the game is over? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just casually viewing the fourth quarter, and they score and score again, and scored a third time, and all of a sudden, the eyes open up. But you kind of had a feeling that it was going to go down the way it did, and it did. Where the defense is on the field at the end, and you finally say, "Hey, defense, go get a stop." The offense is on fire. We scored 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter. Get us a ball one more time. All we need is a field goal. And I'm thinking, hey, line him up from 70. I don't care. This guy's going to make it. We're going to go into overtime. But the defense just gets gives up 2 first downs. What we had, I believe, close to 3 minutes left and 3 timeouts. Kick the ball long. Didn't need an onside kick. You had 2 opportunities. You don't just need a stop. You had 2 opportunities to get a stop. They got 1 first down. Hey, don't panic. We got 2-minute warning, 3 timeouts. And then you gave
and they got him in a 3rd and long at the end. We're kind of jumping ahead, but that was what you wanted. So the defense did step up a little bit in the second half, and the offense did too. But yeah, you're right. It was just like that was one of my notes. Is like the defense stepped up until they truly had to step up, and then they got torched again. Right? They just they gave up 2 first downs. So
that's a Swiss cheese defense, man. There's holes in it all over the place. I don't know what the hell's going on. We were told in the preseason that the Cowboys lost too many weapons on offense, and they can't just win games playing defense. And now what we see is a horrid defense. Like, right now, honestly, probably the worst defense in the league after 3 games. And I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to break that down. I'm going to tell you exactly how bad they are.
So what happened? Dan Quinn, you looked terrible in the playoffs. You had to go. Zimmer, did Dan Quinn leave the playbook in the office, and you open the drawer and there it is? Hey, we can just roll this out. This works. Well, it doesn't work. So, I don't know what's going on. I can't, I want to throw Zimmer under the bus, but this was going on before he got here. And
I think
really,
I don't know. it's 3 games under a new system. Really, at the end of the day, I think like I said, we're gonna break this down, but the personnel they're so terrible that I don't know what kind of scheme we could put in place to stop the run, because I'm gonna tell you how bad they are in a second. But let's break down this game finally. So Cowboys go down 14-3. Their only real chance, their best drive of the game came after, or in the first half at least, came after that. They were marching down the field, and then CeeDee Lamb fumbles on I think the 10, 12-yard line. So they were driving down the ball. They could have cut it. Yeah, they could have cut it to 14-10, but he fumbled inside the 10. So again, I don't know what you're complaining about, CD. You got even if you want the ball, well, now you get thrown the ball and you fumble. So you're the second highest paid wide receiver in the league, and you can't hold on to the ball. I don't know what to tell you, CD. So after that, the Ravens get the ball back. They march down the field. No, actually, after that, the defense got a stop after that, which just was surprising. But I don't know, things change. But you think, okay, if they could have scored there, the next drive, the Dallas Cowboys defense got to stop. So who knows? But after that, the offense sputters again. Baltimore goes up 21-3 on an 8-play, 88-yard drive. The Cowboys get the ball back with 25 seconds in the first half. They actually had a chance to score a touchdown. CD had a pass interference called on him in the end zone, so they would have got the ball at the 2. But there was an offensive holding, which was it was a pretty tough call. I didn't like that call, but they end up Aubrey kicks a 51-yard field goal to end the half. We're down 21-6. Baltimore gets the ball first to start the half. They go down and score 28-6. And they didn't score again. So 11:58 left in the game. The Ravens don't score again, and the Cowboys mount this comeback.
11:58 left in the third quarter, right?
Yeah. In the third quarter. So after that, it kind of goes back and forth. The Cowboys don't score. The Ravens don't score. There's a few drives there, but with 8:53 left in the fourth, the Cowboys scored to cut it to 28-12. Well, then Brandon Aubrey, again, MVP of the team, kicks an onside kick. The Cowboys recover, and they go down and score and cut it to a potential one-possession game, miss a 2-point play. So they're down 10. And then with 2:53 left in the Cowboys drive down the play, 11-play, 91-yard drive to cut it to 28-25. And like you said, there was 2:53 left in the game with all 3 timeouts. So you had the 2-minute warning and all 3 timeouts. But then, unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys couldn't make a stop, and that was it for that. So a nice little comeback towards the end. I think that gives you at least the offense gives you some confidence going into next week. But at the end of the day, like, it seems like and I know we have some comments in here about, Mike Zimmer doesn't fit our defensive schemes. Mafia Members Pod says Micah kind of disappeared. I agree with that. We've talked about that, but I don't think the Ravens necessarily played soft coverage in that fourth quarter. It's just that the Cowboys Dak Prescott was really operating. The only time he could really operate right now is in like a 2-minute type offense. So no huddle, 2-minute offense. I don't know what's going on there, but you can't really run a defensive scheme. But, other takeaways from this game, Cowboy Reg, I know, what we're going to talk about. Well, let's just say, look, the Ravens had 274 rushing yards. They were close to 300 yards. I guess they had a couple kneel downs towards the end, but still close to a 300-yard game. Lamar only threw 15 passes. He went for 12 for 15 for 182 yards and 1 touchdown, but we got torched by Derrick Henry. You remember that guy that was training all summer in Dallas that we could have signed that, apparently
never called him. Never called him. Never called it.
So he torches us.
I heard it. I read it today. I mean, this wasn't just something I heard, but he has the same agent as Dak Prescott.
I did not know that. So
make sense of this. Make sense of how he doesn't get. He's playing for $8 million a year. $8 million, 2 years, $16 million.
It's not that crazy.
I mean, it's well under the cap for us to squeeze him in. If he was sitting at home right now, people would be saying, "Hey, call him." So that doesn't make any sense. But what I do want to comment on is I just want to ask you two questions, and you'll get my point. Question number one is, who called the plays in the first three quarters?
Mike McCarthy.
Question number two is, who called all the plays in the fourth quarter in the hurry up?
Dak.
Yep. So we can't score a touchdown when Mike McCarthy's got that freaking menu in his hand,
Waffle House menu.
The Waffle House menu in his hand. We can't score. Okay, get the Waffle House menu out of his hand and let Dak run the offense. All of a sudden, 3 touchdowns in one quarter. I mean, what's going on here? And you know what? Your comeback, not yours, but the critics will say, well, they're playing a prevent defense. They weren't. Baltimore never went into a they were bumping and running. They were playing the same defense, but Dak figured it out. He starts throwing the ball where the holes are. He starts running a hurry up and keeping the pass rushers off the field. So what's going on? McCarthy, what's going on, man? What is your game plan and why can't you adjust? Should we just do the 1990s Buffalo Bills and just put Dak on the field? We're run the hurry up all 4 quarters. Honestly, can't be worse.
No, they can't. Worse. Whatever script they're running, whatever game plan they're running, it's not working.
It's terrible.
I want to get to some.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
That's a great point. That's what I thought of. I mean, the first thing you think of is like, you can't sustain this, but you're right. I mean, who's making the adjustments and Dak was making a lot of audibles, I thought, throughout the game. He was very vocal in the backfield and, he's changing things up a lot. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's up against a wall on first down. It's getting to second and long. It's getting to third and long and not being able to convert and committing penalty. There's so many issues. I mean, coaching is, I guess I should be so hard on the players because the coaching is bad as well. I want to give a shout out to Drew Fisher, Go Boys here. He's had a lot of good comments for us tonight. Talking about CD, he said fumbles happen, but then there was a drop and then a penalty. Instead of trying to step up, he disappeared. He finally apologized. If he doesn't revert to this type of behavior again, all is forgiven in my opinion, but needs to show it, not just say it. I agree. Look, I'm hard on these guys because I like this team, and I think they deserve to be accountable and deserve criticism for the amount of money and that they make on football. But I'm not saying that they're bad people at all. I still really like CeeDee Lamb. I think he's a great guy. I think he'll bounce back, but he just can't. He's got to learn from this. And I thought he had learned from this after this kind of already happened against Green Bay. Hot Take City says Neighbor is about to cook on Thursday. Stick around with us a little later in the show. Hot Take City, we're going to get to that Giants preview. We will see about that. But Malik Neighbors did have a good game on Sunday. Yeah, you're right, Cowboy Reg. I don't know where to go with this offense, but like you said, the play calling's bad. But again, when you are this bad at running the football, there's not much you can do. And like we kind of glossed over it, but yeah, we could have had Derrick Henry. We could have had Saquon Barkley.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are we this bad at running the ball? Is Rico running the ball poorly?
No, he's running, he's kind of running at an NFL average level. So no, I don't think he's getting the amount of touches that he should.
So you got one guy averaging 2 yards a carry. You got one guy averaging a yard and a half a carry, and then you got a guy averaging like 4.3 yards a carry, and he gets 8 carries. I'm confused. I mean, what do we have a problem? Does Mike McCarthy have a problem with Rico? I mean, does he not like him? I mean, I don't understand why Deuce Vaughn is on this team, period.
I don't know.
Don't forget that he's getting carries. That's absurd. That's absurd that he gets the ball. Explain to me why he's on this football team. You know the answer, and I know the answer. And some of our listeners may not know the answer. His dad works for the Dallas Cowboys. There it is. And you know what? Great story. Had a tear in my eye when they drafted him. Good for you. Put you on the field, you can't get it done. Go play in the USFL, and I'll cheer for you there. Guy has no business in the NFL. This is ridiculous. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, it's sad, and Cowboy Reg is, if you listen to this podcast, we have given Deuce Vaughn a lot of credit, and he had a good preseason. But like you said, he doesn't have, he's got a really short leash. Poorly he performed last year. And you look at a guy like we talked about between Royce Freeman and him towards the end of the year, who's going to make the team? They went with Deuce. And I get, he might have had a little better of a preseason, but maybe Royce Freeman was the better option. I don't know, but it's not working. And you're right, Cowboy Reg.
We got Dalvin
right.
Cook. We got Dalvin Cook now.
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
Why you pick up Dalvin Cook? Why'd you pick him up and just put him on the practice squad and play Deuce Vaughn? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Mafia Members podcast says I love a good Reggie rant. He was getting a little red there, Mafia Member. Mafia Members is riding high though. He's just the Bills are looking
in the house,
incredibly good. York. Jennifer Bullard says, agree, Deuce is not NFL material. Yeah, he's not.
Not at all.
Look, here's where I'll start with this. I'll start with okay, so the Dallas Cowboys rushing offense right now, they're the amount of rushing plays they run is at 31%, which is 31 out of 32 in the NFL. Yards per rush is 3.6, 29 out of 32 in the NFL. Rushes per game, 30 out of 32 in the NFL at 20.7. Rush yards per game, 73.7 rush yards per game. That's 30 out of 32 in the NFL. It just doesn't get much worse than that. Ezekiel Elliott, 0 broken tackles, 0 missed tackles forced, 1.2 yards after contact. Rico Dowell, 0 broken tackles, 1.0 yards after contact. 3 games, 0 broken, Deuce Vaughn, 0 broken tackles, 1.3 yards after contact. 3 games, 0 broken tackles, all under 1.5 yards after contact. They can't do anything in the run game. As soon as they get hit, they're done. So it's not just Deuce who we've seen do that. It's Rico as well. But Rico's the only one showing the ability to run the football whatsoever. Yeah. Zeke is a little bit, but they just got to use Zeke really. They're not using him correctly, though. They're not using him in short yardage, and you have to use him in pass plays. The one pass play that he had, I don't know if this was his only catch. I guess I could look at that real quick, but Dak overthrew him. So, Zeke went 3 for 6, and he caught the ball once for 6 yards, so 12 yards total. He's just bringing Dalvin Cook. I don't know what he's doing on the practice squad, but we won't see him before Thursday. So I don't know. The coaching staff, I guess he's not ready. He played in a playoff game last year. He's been training in the offseason trying to get picked up by a team. I don't understand what he's not doing on the field. But yeah, that's how bad the running room is. It's a lot of those stats are 30 out of 32 in the NFL. So they're pretty much towards the bottom. And we had, a free agency where we let our leading back walk. We got this running back by committee thing. The only bright spot I see in the backfield is Hunter Luepke. I mean, he's a guy that could potentially get some carries.
Yeah.
And this is kind of in the middle of the show where we're talking. This is into next week as well. So we're doing both a review and a preview. So, we're kind of in the midst of this right now. But I mean, what do you think about that? I think maybe we actually need to utilize the fullback position, and we have to use some heavy personnel, in my opinion, to get some. I think you need 2 things. You either need to use Turpin and Lamb in the backfield like you did in week 1, where you have to spread the run game out and try to get around the corner, because none of these guys are getting any yards after contact, and they're running more up the middle than they are anywhere else, which I get because that's the strength of your offensive line, but it's just not working out at all. So either you get heavy personnel, maybe you go into an I formation, like a split I formation. I don't know. Maybe actually utilize Hunter Luepke as a fullback, give him the ball once in a while, and he's a threat in the passing game, a huge threat. But I don't know how to fix it. It's just really bad. But I think maybe you spread it out by using, some formations with CD and Turpin, and you have to try to get on the outside somehow. But I think you probably need to double Rico's carries next game and just see what he's got, because Zeke and Deuce don't have it. You could still use Zeke in this offense, but he can't be your lead back. So like you said for multiple weeks now, you thought the running back by committee means this guy's going to get, 15 to 20 carries per game, not we're going to mix in, we're going to throw in these guys evenly. Like that's not working out. But other than that, what would you fix in the run game, Cowboy Reg?
Well, I mean, number one is I stopped giving carries to Deuce. Yeah, that's just wasted carries. Number two, I'm using Zeke on short yardage situations inside the 5-yard line, 3rd and 1s, 2nd and 2, 4th and inches. That's Zeke. He's going to go forward. And my workhorse is going to be Rico. And look, I mean, there's, we got a comment here. Rico, in my opinion, is not the lead back. How do you know? How do we know Rico's not the lead back? We don't give him the damn ball. Give him the ball. His average is the best average on the team 2 years in a row. His average last year was better than Pollard. So he's got a better yards per carry average than Tony Pollard last year. They go out and they re-sign Rico. He was a free agent. They re-signed him. Okay? People forget that. What'd you re-sign him for? To give him 8 carries? To share carries with Deuce Vaughn? To share carries with Zeke? I don't understand that. So, the more I talk this out, the more I'm looking at McCarthy and going, dude, what is your plan here? I don't understand what you're doing with the run game. Now, getting that ball to CD on a sweep and getting him outside a pitch, Turpin, that worked well in week 1, like you said. That worked well in week 1. Now we don't do it anymore. We hand it to Zeke up the middle. We hand it to Deuce up the middle. We hand it to Rico up the middle, and we punt. I mean, I guess that's what he means by running back by committee. It takes 3 running backs to get to the punt. There's your committee.
Yeah, we got some comments from Jennifer Bullard and Drew Fisher saying, let's see some carries from Hunter Luepke. And Drew Fisher says Trey Lance might be our most explosive back. Yeah, I might maybe use him like a Taysom Hill, so
what did I say? I said that after the last preseason game. I said, put this guy in a roster because that's a Taysom Hill style. Teach him to catch the ball, play a little tight end. You're not keeping him. They're not re-signing him. They just signed Dak for $1 gazillion. Trey Lance is going to be on another team next year, right? I mean, he's done after this. So
yeah,
what are they
might as well
saving
use
him
him. He's on he's taking up a roster spot. So, I mean, yeah,
crazy.
But yeah, the rushing offense is awful. They also need to figure out, Dak hasn't been himself in the first half of these last 2 games. So, but that all starts really with the inability to run the football. So we will touch on that a little bit later when we talk about how we're going to beat the New York Giants. But, really quickly on the defensive side of the ball, before we get into that is, let's quickly talk about how bad this rush defense is. It's just
we got
this defense as a whole.
This is what I see. We got pass rushers that are skinny, and we got run stoppers that are fat. So our run stoppers can't catch anybody. These guys are too fat. And our pass rushers can't tackle anybody because they're too small. We don't have any run stoppers, man. The run stoppers we have are freaking 40 years old. This offseason, and this is what I said in the offseason, I wasn't concerned with our starting lineup. I was concerned with our depth. So we take a couple injuries to the defense, and here we go. We don't have the depth to cover up for it.
Yeah, it's true. And here's what the stats say. When it comes to rush defense, opponent yards per rush, 5.4. That is last in the NFL. Opponents' rushes per game, so the amount of rushing attempts per game is at 34.3. That's 28 out of 32 in the NFL. Opponent rush yards per game, 185. That is last in the NFL. Opposing rushing touchdowns per game, 2.7. That's last in the NFL. Opponent rushing percentage, so the amount of runs that the team is rushing the ball against the Cowboys, is 55%. So that's 30 out of 32. So teams are running the ball over half the time against the Dallas Cowboys, and they still can't stop them. Let's talk about some of the personnel, specifically the interior defensive line. These are based off of PFF grades. They rank every player by position. Linval Joseph is 129 out of 129 in the NFL. You know who's 128? Mozzie Smith.
A guy who's fat. Yeah, another fat guy.
Mozzie Smith is 128th in the NFL out of 129. Our best interior defensive lineman is Osa Odighizuwa. He is 108th out of 129 in the NFL. Jordan Phillips doesn't have enough snaps to be ranked by PFF, but he's not having a good game either. If you follow PFF rankings, these guys are all in the 20s. So it's a system that's 1 through 100. Linval Joseph has a 28.7 grade. Jordan Phillips has a 29.6. Mozzie Smith has a 28.8. This is not only the worst defensive line in football, but they are so bad. They are historically bad. And that just, if you cannot get any penetration on the interior defensive line, you cannot stop the run. You cannot blame this on the safeties. You cannot blame this on the linebackers. When these guys get completely blown up on the line, you have no hope on stopping the run, right? So you could try to throw safety blitzes in, or you can try to bring your linebackers down. But when you cannot hold up a gap, you cannot clog lanes, you have no hope. It's historically bad. I don't know how else to say it. And you cannot.
They signed Carlos Watkins off the Commanders practice squad, I believe.
Yeah, I mean he's got a 57.4, so he's the best ranked.
He didn't play already, did he? Did he play? I didn't. Maybe he did.
He's got 12 snaps on the year. I don't know. Oh man.
I don't. I mean, if he played for us, I didn't notice. But I mean, they just picked him up over the week last week.
He didn't play in this game, so
yeah, put him in. I mean, now we're picking up guys off the practice squad. I mean, come on, man, this is bad. I don't know how they're going to stop the run, man. I just don't. I don't see the personnel they have getting better. So you better make some trades. You better pick up some more practice squad guys. Mozzie Smith, man, you guys got to get tired of me saying it.
He's so awful. He's so awful.
Good. It was a bad draft pick. It was a horrid draft pick. Get out of it. Cut him, and move on.
He's last. I don't know what else you want to see. He was bad last year. He's last in the NFL. He is the worst person in his position in the NFL.
And if you don't believe me, just isolate on him. Watch the ball snap and watch who the last out of the 11 players on your defense, the last one to move is Mozzie Smith every time. He cannot move. He cannot anticipate a snap. I guess he's never off sides. No, he doesn't. He doesn't jump in the neutral zone because he doesn't move until the other guy hits him.
I mean, you're exactly right. Watch him just get blown up. I mean, I don't know, man. Put Cowboy Reg out there. I mean, he played D-line in high school. I mean,
hell yeah. I could get blown up just as easy as he can.
Hey him.
I could get
this man. Get him out there. That's what it should be. Look, if you want fan participation, you should have a rotating thing where instead of getting on the field pregame, you could play one snap on the Dallas Cowboys interior defensive line. They just bring a fan out there. They put him up. It costs you $2,000. Jerry's all about money. Just put some guy, put these guys out there. Watch them get blown up. Get these guys tanked off Miller Lights, throw them on the D-line and watch them get blown up because it won't make a difference. It's no difference in having Mozzie Smith out there. The guys, I mean, I'm not coming at him personally. I don't know how he is as a person. I'm sure he's a great guy, but he's playing very, very bad football, and you can't play that bad for this long. So let's talk about this Dallas Cowboys New York Giants game. Let's see, man. I mean, where do we start? I mean, let's start with, what are the keys to victory here? Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. What's the key?
Yeah, you got to start early. You got to get out there and score on your first drive and get a lead. That's part of this team's problem is once they get behind and, they start pressing and the team knows what they're going to do. And then on the flip side, once you get behind and you can't stop the run, they just keep running. They're not, Baltimore wasn't going to pass the ball. You said he was 12 for 15 or something like that. They don't need to pass the ball. Why would anybody pass the ball? So your only hope is to get a lead. And that's what, basically what they did last year. How were they 12-5 last year? They got big leads in those games. You get big leads where the other team can't run. The other team has to pass. Well, we got a pretty good, defensive backfield. We got good DBs on both sides, great safeties, pretty decent linebackers in coverage with speed, but we can't stop the run. So the only way to put ourselves in a situation where we can cover up for that is to get a 10-0 lead or, 14-0 lead in the first half where the other team has to start passing the ball. So, now we flip it back over here on Dak and the offense. You can't just go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, go to halftime with 2 field goals and the other team has 28 and and then think we're going to come back every week. We got to score early. And I'm going to say it, man. Call it a gimmick, call it whatever you want. Let's take the ball in this Thursday night game and run that hurry up offense right off the bat and get a lead.
Why not?
And then slow it back down. Slow it down later.
I would love to see some hurry right away. But yeah, I think that's the key. This team has shown that they can't play down, and until they make some adjustments like playing from behind. That's the worst case scenario for this game. And that's what, not only on the football field, but just mentally, this team is at a very critical point right now. I mean, if they go out and go down, even 7 points, or that's fine. That is what it is. But if they go down 10, 14 points in the first quarter or first half, man, you're in the danger zone there. Cause I don't think they could do it. They're just, all that doubt's going to creep back in. They're going to crumble. They have to find a way to get a lead in this game and play from that lead. Unfortunately, they have proven that they can't play from behind. So they got to, like you said, they got to get a lead. Defensively, this New York Giants team, I would say, is just, they're not a bad defensive team. Really, their struggles are on offense. So maybe that's an opportunity for the defense to step up. But on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, they're giving up 21.3 points per game. That's 18 in the NFL. So it's around average yards per game. They're at 15 with 318 yards per game. So right on average. I don't really see any really opponents' yards per rush. They're 27th in the NFL. So, but again, we are the 30th ranked team in the NFL in rushing. So that kind of equals itself out. So definitely they're susceptible to the run game, but we can't really establish the run game. Passing wise, they are passing completion. They're ranked 22 out of 32 in the NFL at 70%. Opponents' yards per pass, 6.2. That's 14th in the NFL. And passing yards per game is 186. It's 13 out of 32 in the NFL. So it's above average. So a pretty decent, at the end of the day, a decent defense. So, but this is a team that the Cowboys have had a ton of success against in the past. And Dak Prescott has a ridiculous record against the New York Giants. So
12-2, right?
It's something like that. I should have pulled it up before the game.
I think Dak is 10-2 or 12-2 against the, I want to say it's 12-2.
Yeah, 12-2.
Giants,
you're right.
but
He is 12-2 against the New York Giants. So look for him to really get back and get something going in this game. That would be huge on offense. But again, maybe you run some hurry up. You probably, what you have to do is establish, you have to establish the pass before you establish the run. They have to figure something out on it at first down. I mean, you can't just go out there and run on first down like you have been. The running game doesn't work. So you got to get some chunk plays on first down to and then maybe throw in Zeke or Rico for a second and short to kind of get you a first down and maybe get some decent running yards. But you can't just go out there and run the ball on first and second down and get in these third and longs. It's just not going to work, So the Giants have weapons. I mean, you got Dexter Lawrence on the defensive line and Brian Burns, who's a good defensive end. So, getting in third and longs isn't going to work out for you. So you can't do it. That's really the key on offense, I think. And if you can find a way to just add a spark to this offense in any way in the run game, whether it's to Turpin, to Lipke, to CeeDee Lamb potentially, but you also have to get Dak kind of warmed up, right? We've seen this before. If he doesn't make a few easy completions right off in the game, he kind of starts off cold. So I think that's the key. You're going to have to get some short passes in there. Maybe if he can complete like his third, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 straight completions to start the game, I think we're in a good spot. But got to get something going on offense. We got to get a lead. So I like taking the ball first and going down and scoring. That would be a really good sign. Defensively, where do you start, Cowboy Reg? Did you hear me?
Okay.
Oh,
No, you cut out for a minute. Go ahead.
No, I said, where do you on the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys? How do they beat this New York Giants team?
Well, I mean, we got to create some turnovers. That's something that's been missing the last couple weeks. Punching the ball out, jumping routes. You got to do something because these long, steady drives that are coming at us are just eating us alive. So, take some shots. Let's see if we can turn the ball over. I hate to mention this, but that Dan Quinn defense where they were creating turnovers really worked well in the regular season. The postseason's a different story, but what choice do we have at this point? I mean, you can't stop the run, so maybe you could punch the ball out. I mean, maybe you miss and you give up a 20-yard run, but next time you put the ball on the ground. So, I don't see with the personnel they have that they're going to stop the run. Now, if they go pick up some guys and make a trade or whatever, and Carlos Watkins comes in and plays at the level that he's played at in the past, he knows this. He knows the Cowboys well, and he was a rotational guy. If he could come in and help a little bit, and we can get somebody else to step up or pick somebody up, we could stop the run a little bit. But right now, they can't stop the run, so they need to create turnovers. That's the only thing. Get with these linebackers and start focusing on stripping and punching that ball out. We need Diggs to jump some routes. We need to get Bland back. I know he's coming back in a few weeks, hopefully. Our boy Carson, Kalen Carson, has become a liability a little bit.
Yeah,
the teams are taking advantage of him, and I'm not going to blame him because he's a rookie.
Right,
it's hard to be a rookie.
It takes time to learn.
I think he's drafted on like day 2 or day 3 in the draft. He's not a first-round draft pick, so they're asking a lot of him. They chose not to go after another defensive back, not to re-sign Gilmore, and then we got the injury bug, unfortunately, with Bland. Big injury there. Our guy's out, and now we got a rookie in there that I think, 5th-round draft pick, maybe 5th round. That's a tough thing to ask of a guy like him. And then you see him trying to tackle Derrick Henry because he's busting through the line every play. He's not going to have much luck doing that either. So we're going to have to create some turnovers. That's my answer. I don't see any other way to stop teams without doing that.
Yeah, I mean, turnovers would help as long as the offense is able to score some points. I mean, they're going to have to play some complimentary football at the end of the day. Like, this defense has to show some life, though. They've got to somehow – they got to make adjustments. They got to stop the run. Luckily, the Giants are a below-average rushing team. Their leading rusher is Devin Singletary. He's got 42 carries for 197 and 2 touchdowns, 4.7 yards per rush. So, not anything crazy, outstanding, just average to below average. But this Cowboys rushing defense has been so bad. Who knows? The guy might go off. But, defensively, you have to – the strength of this defense is, like you said, creating turnovers, and the pass rush is really the strength of the defense. Well, how do you do that? Well, the pass rush can't do anything when you're constantly dealing with second and short, third and short, because your defense just gave up a huge run, right? And then you have to worry about play action and all that. So if you can't get in second and third down, you can't utilize your pass rush. That's what they have to do. They have got to find a way to stop the run on first and second down, get in some third and long situations, and pressure Daniel Jones and pressure him into making some mistakes, like you said, turning the ball over, or just get some sacks, right? If the Giants come back and try to pass the ball on first down, I personally won't it ever against the Cowboys, but get him in some second and third and longs if you can. 2 weeks in a row that the Cowboys have literally on defense had no negative plays. They've had none. They can't even force a negative play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless a team starts the drive with a false start or a holding, it's never 2nd and 10. So, and the teams are just going out and they're running the ball on first and second down and then figuring it out on third down. It's just, you cannot win football games like that. So I don't know how they're going to do it because of how bad this defense has been. but they have to somehow stop the rush. That's all. That's their only option. Unless you just get in a shootout with them, this isn't really an explosive offense. Like you said, the other threat in the passing game is Malik Neighbors, first-round pick out of LSU. He had 2 touchdowns last week. He's got 23 receptions for 271 and 3 touchdowns this year. So, he's forming a little bit of a connection with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, again, hasn't looked great this year. He's set 62 for 104, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. So really nothing special out of Daniel Jones. We know him well. It's not an explosive offense whatsoever. But at the end of the day, if our offense is struggling and then they're able to run the ball on us, and I mean that's kind of how they beat Cleveland last week. They only scored 21 points, but they won. So we thought this Giants team was really bad. They started off the year getting blown out at home to Minnesota, who actually turns out to be a pretty good team. They lose that game 28-6. They followed up with a loss in Washington 21-18, who actually looked pretty good last night. But I don't know, that may be just Cincinnati being bad. And then they beat the Cleveland Browns, which we thought was a really quality win, but the Cleveland Browns looked terrible. The Giants went in there on the road and beat them 21-15. So their defense only let up 15 points. Again, Cleveland's got a lot of issues on offense, but that's kind of how the Cowboys lose this game, is if the offense can't put up points and they continue to struggle and the defense gives up, between 20 and 30 points because they can't stop the run, and you give Daniel Jones time and the ability to kind of open up the playbook because you can't stop the run, then they could lose this game. So that's kind of the breakdown on both sides of the ball. All right. So we got a Thursday night football game against the Giants that will be on Amazon Prime, kicking off at 7:15 in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Cowboys are currently somewhere between a 5-6 point spread. This line's jumping everywhere. It was, some bookies had it at 4.5. I saw this morning. ESPN Bet has it at the Cowboys favorite at -6, and the over-unders at 44.5. So that's kind of like a, let's see, a 24 to maybe, no, 26. Help me out here, Cowboy Reg. 23-17. What is that?
I mean,
it's a 6-point spread.
6 point there. Yeah. That's about right. 23-17 would be,
that's 40 points. So maybe more like 20.
Yeah.
26-20. That's not really a common score, but anyway, you get the point. The Cowboys are favored by 6 points, and the over-unders at 44.5. So not really expecting a huge game, but injury report, really nothing significant to report. No major injuries from last week on either the Giants or the Cowboys side of the ball. Weather report for this game looks like, as of right now, Thursday night, heavy showers early in the evening, mostly cloudy, 63 degrees. So it might be rainy, which of course doesn't help the Dallas Cowboys because, what are the teams going to do? They're going to run the ball. So that's no good. ESPN matchup predictor.
I don't see the Giants running the ball all over us, even with no run stopping ability. They're guys in Philly right now, but we'll see. I don't know. I think they're going to pass the ball. They got Neighbors, and I think they're passing the ball. So, we know what we have to do.
That might be one more kicker for this team, but regardless, rain or shine, you got to go out there and win this game. Is this a must-win, Cowboy Reg, for the Dallas Cowboys? Would you label it a must-win?
Oh, you cut out a little bit there, but
what is this a must-win?
I'm looking at, this is a rebound situation, and they need to, whatever motivation they need happened on Sunday. If you don't have the pride to get up and play hard and come together as a unit after what happened to you Sunday, then this team's in trouble. So I hate to say must win in this early in the season, week 4, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, week 4 must win, but this team needs it. They need to come out and play well. They need to win. They need it badly.
Yeah, it's a must-win. You lose this game, to me, the season's pretty much over. I don't see the Cowboys rebounding from this loss because, look, the Cowboys' schedule is not easy
Yeah, it's
after
tough.
this. They have to win this game. They go to New York, then we have a Sunday night football game at the Steelers. You get a bye week, and then you have the Lions, Niners, Falcons, Eagles, Texans. I mean, if they lose this game, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule saying, show me the win. I mean, I expect them to finish last in the NFC East if they lose this game. Because look,
tough, man.
The Giants are coming off a big win in Cleveland, and the common opponents here for the Cowboys, it's not looking good. They got one win against Cleveland, who was looking really bad. You lose to the Saints, who just dropped the game to Philly, so that loss looks even worse. I just thought maybe the Saints were just really good, but they drop a game at home to the Eagles. Their offense looks awful. And then, the Ravens were 0-2. I get there, they were in the AFC Championship game last year, but the Ravens are 0-2. They lost to the Raiders last week, who went on to lose to the Carolina Panthers at home. So, it's weird. The NFL's been weird. It's early on. I get that people aren't playing in preseason, all that stuff, but I mean, you look at this Cowboys team so far and their results, it's really, really poor. I mean, this is getting scary. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, this is a must win. If you lose this game, I mean, you could pretty much this season's out, because I think the team just crumbles.
And it makes you really rethink this sitting everybody in the preseason crap that McCarthy's done year after year after year. I mean, right now, I see nobody has their timing on the routes. The defense looks like they haven't tackled anybody in practice. They're obviously not hitting out there in practice. They don't want anybody to get hurt. You got to rethink that, man. We're not the Super Bowl champs here. This is not Patrick Mahomes and his boys coming in after playing, for 20 straight weeks and then partying all the offseason, and you got to work them back into shape. This is a team that should have been hungry after the Packers playoff loss, and I think you should have played some of these guys in the preseason. And it obviously you can see that now. These guys are lost out there, and I don't know how we pulled that win off in Cleveland, except for they're in worse shape than we are, right? I mean they're in worse shape than we are is all I could say about the Browns. They got a lot of questions. But hey, we're not going to get to play them again. So that's not a situation where you can, at least we'll sweep the Browns. They're not in our division. So here's a team that you should sweep, the New York Giants. So Thursday's it, man. That's it. My faith in this team comes down to Thursday. And if they take a hit on Thursday, I mean, it's time to really rethink some of these veterans you got out there and start working in some younger guys, I guess, because the season will be over. Hey, you think we're crazy, but look at the schedule. Like you said, look at the schedule. If you lose to the New York Giants, you lost to the Saints, you've lost to the 0-2 Ravens. If you lose to the Giants, where are you getting your wins from? You going into Pittsburgh and beating them? Right. You're going to go into Philly and beat them? Come on, man. Give me a break. You got to win this game Thursday. That's it. You got to win it, and you can't just go out there and win 17-16. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and beat them like you normally do. What was it last year? 89-17 total?
Something crazy.
47. Yeah. So, you know what? Show that you're still the team that you were last year and go blow that team out.
Yeah, it's Jennifer Bullard says, if they continue as they are, I'll go back to Charlotte, watch them fight it out with the Panthers for about $25 a ticket. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Cowboy Red. So do you have a score prediction for us? I agree it's a must win, but what do you think score wise?
I mean, we got to get that dub, right? So I got to get the offense, keep the offense going like they were in the fourth quarter against Baltimore. If they can carry that momentum in, and I hope, I'm going to be optimistic that they do. The rain concerns me. If it does rain, that's going to lower the score. But if it's not raining, I don't care if it's cold and windy, whatever. If it's not raining, 31-17 Dallas. If it's raining and it's ugly, I mean, it's just a must win. I just have to have faith in the team that they're going to go win. So, if it's nasty out there, maybe like a 20-16, 20-13, something like that. But there's nothing that has happened between last year and this year except for neighbors. but okay, well, we'll put Trevon Diggs on him. Okay, problem solved. So other than that, these are the two of the same teams that played last year. I don't see that it shouldn't change that much. We should get the dub. I won't be shocked if we lose. I mean, why would I be shocked if we lose? Look at the product that they've given us so far. But
yeah,
I'm going to have to say they right the ship and get the dub.
Yeah, I mean, they need this win bad. They're backed into a corner here, but I mean, the Giants should be looking at this as an opportunity to come out there and knock them off. It's been a long time, but at the end of the day, Dak Prescott is 12-2 against the Giants. You got to think that something has to change with this running defense. Maybe some linebackers step up and make some plays in the backfield. Maybe Micah Parsons steps up in the run game, and DeMarcus Lawrence does as well. They don't have a great running game. We just played the best, one of the best rushing offensive teams in the NFL, if not the best, in the Ravens. So I'm hoping they make some adjustments. Early on in the week, I was expecting to go on here and predict the Cowboys loss to the Giants, but I still don't see that happening yet. I think the Cowboys struggle on defense still, but the other thing I didn't mention on defense is they're last in the NFL in red zone. Their opponents are scoring 90% of the time they get in the red zone, touchdowns. So that concerns me. This defense has to step up. Turnovers, sacks, negative plays somehow. I got the Cowboys 23-20 in an ugly one, but I still think they squeak it out. The Giants aren't good. They're not good. So you shouldn't. You can't go in there and lose this game.
2 weeks ago, they want Daniel Jones cut. The fans wanted him out 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they get a win, and they're gonna continue and compete for the NFC East. So I'm gonna have to see a little more than one win because Cleveland's upside down, and you went in there and scored 21 points on them. So
right,
I'm gonna need to see more than that before I pick the Giants against anybody. I'm not saying the Cowboys are playing well. I just don't see the Giants stringing 2 wins together back to back at this point. But you know what? They're going to come in fired up, right? They're going to come in. They're going to come in. They're at home. They haven't beat the Cowboys in years, literally years. You got Dak Prescott, your father, who's 12-2 against you, and you got you got to prove something. So the Giants have a lot to prove on Thursday. Otherwise, it's just the same old Giants, and it's just 2 wins for the Cowboys every year. So I won't be surprised if the Giants win. I won't be shocked. Let's put it that way. I won't be shocked if they win. But I'm still saying the boys are going to beat them.
Yeah, I would be a little surprised. I guess I'm not ready to accept the fact that this team could be that bad, but who knows? All right, folks, we got to get out of here. We have reached our time. If we talk anymore, I'm just going to talk myself into predicting Dallas to lose, and I don't want to do that. We're going to try to I know it's a negative, a negative podcast today, but hey, this has been a tough 2 weeks. So the Cowboys really need to get back on track this week and take their anger out on the Giants. This is a good opportunity to have a really short week, go in there, get a win, get some confidence back, and then get 10 days to prepare for the Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Wouldn't that be nice?
This is the part to turn your season around. So the Cowboys need to win this game. We will be back later this week for full NFL game week predictions. We're going to put out a little short show with us predicting all the games in this upcoming week, but we both still expect the Dallas Cowboys to go in there and squeak out a win. Hopefully Cowboy registers 31-17. That would be really nice, but let's hope for it. Try to keep a little bit of faith left and just hope that we can beat up on the Giants. But for now, this has been another episode of Sons of the Star. Give us a follow on X, like us on YouTube, subscribe, and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you can. We appreciate you joining us live today. We have had so much great participation today from our listeners and asking a lot of good questions and comments. So we will see you next time. This has been Sons of the Star. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Later.